Okay, so the reel I'm about to reshare, super important. Also, shout out, I'm going to tag them so you can go look at the content they're sharing, to the men that are actually speaking out and illuminating this. Thank you so much. I know the amount of pushback on all levels when you start speaking about this, but it is important. So the whole thing that I posted about yesterday and this like false light, etc. I hadn't actually heard the podcast, and then I was listening to snippets of it today after watching this reel that I'm going to post, or in the next slide actually. It is so synonymous to everything I went through and illuminated. If you've started to listen to my story on my podcast about my real awakening and the depths of deception, what is happening is people are thinking they're talking to ascended masters, but they're talking to the false light ascended masters. Yes, there are false light ascended masters. And essentially, when people are connecting to them, they feel similar to the regular ascended masters, but they're the false light version because they don't have a direct antenna to them. This is literally everything I went through last year with dating, 2 years ago. I don't know. I don't even know timelines anymore. With dating somebody who's best friends with like a huge spiritual mentor, whatever, who's the darkest person I have ever met, when the mask drops. And it's so crazy because I had flashbacks yesterday of what happened in Egypt, but I haven't gotten that part in my podcast, and I am committing to doing an episode in the next few weeks of more pieces connecting, and then probably in the following one where I talk about Egypt. But they took plant medicine in the temple. So what happens when you take plant medicine? DM me for my free Keys to Liberation event if you want to learn more about this. The Keys to Liberation event, I go deep into that, and it's free. So DM me Keys to Liberation if you want that. So what happens is people are taking plant medicine or meditating, and their auric field gets split wide open. The people I was with in Egypt were doing hape in every single temple, and they were doing mushrooms. And actually the Isis one, they took mushrooms right before. I remember they like offered me some. I'm like, this isn't a ceremony. Like, why are you taking mushrooms? I'm very confused. So now their auric field split open. Now they light up on this light bright for dark forces to literally come and attach, hook in, siphon their energy. And the worst part, the thought implants. So they actually think that these distorted thoughts are their own. For example, my ex told me, oh, I had to participate, and I might have to continue participating in the sex trade in order to stop the sex trade. I'm like, wait, what? You need to sleep with escorts to stop the sex trade? Like, makes no sense. I'm like, what? That literally makes zero sense. And obviously I knew something was off then. So that past mentor, similar situation, he's like, I gotta sleep with multiple women and blah, blah, blah. Didn't find that out until like way into it, because he gave this image of like sacred union and honoring the feminine, and he was not doing that behind the scenes, let me assure you. So a lot of these false light leaders will get power from essentially making contracts with these demonic forces, and a lot of them are unconscious, some of them are conscious, which is more concerning. Anyway, so they think that these thoughts are actually theirs and they're actually talking to God, but they're talking to the false gods. And this is how deep the infiltration goes. Also, if you need a toolkit to clear these thought implants, firstly, I do sessions that go really, really deep and heal your core wounds as well that they're using against you. But DATDa is your full toolkit. Don't think they don't mess with your finances, by the way. So any place that you have personal power that helps you create that, and money is one of these ways in the 3D reality. These DFs, if you don't know what that is, dark forces, will literally take that away. When I was in that vortex, when I was with that ex, I watched my finances in the business literally tank. The cash flow, the charts, I was like killing it, and it was compounding and all of these things, and it skyrocketed. And then I got into that relationship and it literally tanked. I saw it on the graphs and it was shocking. That's why I didn't launch Surrendering into Abundance during that time. And what I've seen, this trend of a lot of people in that vortex or similar false light vortexes, what happens is they get frequency fences put on them. So this is why the finances essentially, and every other area that is making you energetically powerful, because they want you energetically weak, is taken away, and they basically put this cap on. So I have actually worked with a lot of these people. On the other side, they approached me and they're like, they heard my story and they're like, my finances like slowed down so much, etc. And we cleared the frequency fences, which I created a way to do. There's 2 ways actually, and I teach this in DATDa. So if you want to learn how to do that yourself, then please join DATDa, and you can learn how to do it yourself along with all the other dark force protection. But if you want me to clear them for you, there's 2 options. You can join Nicole and I in your soul aligned wealth plan. It is a 6-month mastermind. I will assure you I will clear all the frequency fences that are affecting you in finances and all other areas of your life. One of my specialties. Apparently my soul chose to come to this planet to do this. Side note, so what happened after I created a way to clear the frequency fences and I cleared them for myself, not only was I able to see the truth and get out of that whole situation and unravel it, but my finances completely turned around. So much more abundance came. This is what's happened to every single person that I cleared these frequency fences for. It is bonkers how much they affect us, our mindset, all of these things. And so the other piece here that's really, really important is that when you're in kind of like a false light vortex like that, or if you have implants or overlays or distorted code in you, there is a detox process. So the third option is doing a private with me. They go really deep and I will clear all the things. Just be aware that there is a detox process. Like it feels like you're almost getting the flu for probably about a week. For me, it was a little bit longer because there were so many layers of distorted code I had to clear. And this is where they trick women, you know who I'm talking about. In the case we were talking about earlier, they trick them essentially into thinking that that is what they desire. Again, it happened to me in a similar way. That ex of mine was in that community. We were listening to these activations by that false light dude, and literally overnight I got implanted, because when you sleep, your auric field also gets split wide open. So I got implanted and thought I loved him like overnight. I did not. When I intuitively measured this, it was 7%. My level of love for him, I do believe I loved him on soul level, but the human level, yeah, definitely not. However, I literally thought I believed that. I believed I did for so long. And that was because of the implants. So also, if you need sleep protection, high level sleep protection is in DATDa. Anyways, they do this so that they could put distorted code in them, which is why if you've been part of one of these things, hopefully most of you have not, you gotta get rid of that code. And it's like, it feels like you're getting ill. Like every time I did a clearing on myself, I literally felt like I was gonna puke. I often did puke. And I've helped women clear this out of their auric field as well. By the way, if you're something, Nick, shout out to Nick. You're very welcome. Thank you for speaking about this. I'll take you in this too. But anyways, if you are a woman who's gotten trapped in this, I've helped a number of women through. Again, it is a process, but the shifts that happen on the other side are so radical. This cord cutting won't do it in this case because there's hooks. There is literally an auric field that women carry between their breasts, and they're carrying all of that distorted code in there. And if you've been involved with people who kind of are in that really distorted energy, and like it's usually a distorted spirit, then please reach out. What will happen is your light body will be siphoned. So they want to have distorted code in you so that you continue playing along. I get it. It's happened to me. There is like no shame. I'm not saying any of this from a place of judgment, but it's deep trickery. And then they siphon your energy. For those of you who have been following me for many years on my journey, you know that I literally looked like a corpse. My energy was like so dark and distorted during that time. And it was also part of my journey because it forced me into like learning the highest level of energy protection, energy clearing. Literally I've invested over $500,000 to learn these tools. So again, if you need those tools and that support, Defense Against the Dark Arts, DATDa, it's on my website. It is going to be so powerful for you. And we're going to add 2 live calls as well, probably in the summer, for those of you who have joined from the time of recording until now. Okay, love you guys.